Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second Squarous live webinar Q&A. My name is Sam, and I will be conducting this webinar today. Basically, we're going to be showing off the new submission page and a bunch of other new features about the site and the stuff that we've done for sellers to get funding. Basically, this is going to be an overview of how to get funding on Squarous as a seller. So if you have any questions, there's a chat box to the right, which I am monitoring. If you post any questions, I will answer them in a timely manner. Please try and not post a whole bunch of questions at the same time. That'll clog up the chat box, and it'll make it difficult to me to find and quickly answer everybody's questions. So let's jump in. So this is the homepage on Squarous. I'm just going to give some background of how we display projects, how we market projects to investors, how things work. This is the homepage. This is what everybody sees when they come to the site. There's a quick search here so people can look for properties based on certain keywords or tags or whatever. It's just a quick way to navigate the site. Underneath that is popular properties. You'll see we have a bunch of properties here already. Most of them are funded. In fact, all of them are funded. And this is generated by how much interest a property has, how much activity a property page has. Basically, hang on, I apologize. Let me check, make sure we're streaming. Okay, we are. Okay. These are generated by how popular a property is, how much traffic goes to that page, how many times people use the contact forum to contact for investments, views, basically a bunch of factors. So basically everybody's properties, if you post it to your site, has a chance of appearing in this section of the site here. It's very useful, and it's just a quick way for investors to jump around the site and look for properties. Underneath here, these are quick guides. We have quick guides for investors and a quick guide for sellers and tutorial videos to go with them. Basically, these are just quick guides that you can use to quickly get information and get started on the platform. We have a bunch of informative videos and tutorials down here, including a whole page of videos that if you watch them all, they're about 1 to 2 minutes a piece. You can get a pretty quick understanding for the site without having to read anything. Underneath that is some more information about Squarous, how it works, the different stuff that we do, a few bullet points as to how Squarous is, a good option if you're looking for project funding. Underneath here is featured properties. This basically functions like the popular properties, and underneath this is our Investor Insights blog. If you're not already subscribed to it, subscribe to it by giving your email address down here, or if you click any of these articles and go to that page, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for the newsletter. Basically, this is a blog of general stuff, good information about the site, any announcements we have. As you can see, we announce webinars here. Lots of different blog posts. It's full of information. And if you go to the top where it says Connect, the Investor Insights blog is right here. We got pages and pages worth of great information for you to watch and read, and it's just a really good resource to get started on this platform. Okay, so posting a property for us to review. Obviously, that's free. It's completely free to post a property to Squarous, and it's also free to look for a property and invest with Squarous. We do not charge you for anything. We make our money by posting some of our own properties up here, and also through charging a commission through the attorneys that we have that will process your transaction when you're ready to actually purchase an investment or receive money from investors for your project. So to post a property is very easy. You see over here, there's a tab called My Account. We're not logged in right now, so all of these different tools and sections here are locked because we're not logged in. Basically, you want to go to Submit a Property down here, but first we have to log in. If you don't have an account, you can create one here. I'll just click it for, why not? Just, it's very easy. We don't ask for hardly any information, just your name, Make a username for yourself, a password, and an email address. You want to confirm that email address, click register. Then you'll get an email from us asking to click a link to confirm your account, and then you're in. It's that easy. It's very easy to make an account at Squarous. Don't even need to give us a lot of information to do it, and it's worth doing because then you'll have access to all these other tools, like the ability to compare properties side by side, to favorite properties, to save searches, and if you're a seller, to submit a property. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in over here. My username is Sam O, and my password is I'm not telling you. And I will log in to the site. Once you log in, you'll get to this redirect. I do not want Chrome to save this right now. Thank you for logging into Squarous. If you're not automatically redirected, please click here. I mean, right now, you're already in. You see all these are unlocked. You can just start going right now. Or if you want to wait to get redirected back to the home page, that's cool too. So now we hover over my account, and you see that submit a property right here is unlocked. You can submit a property and also go through all these tools, and also login has been changed to log out, and create an account is gone because obviously you're in, so you don't need to create an account. So let's go to submit a property because we are sellers, we are fundraisers looking for funding, so let's submit a property. When you click that, it'll take you right to this page. Submit a property to Squarous for funding. There's two different ways you can get funding on Squarous. You can either get funding through a loan, or you can get funding through a partnership. Now, how Squarous works is we advertise your project to investors. They can buy shares in your project, and then from there, you can get your funding that way. How you present your project to investors matter. If you choose this loan option, everything you say in your project, like your returns, how much profit investors expect to make, how much income per month they plan to make, you must guarantee all of that. So if you say, invest with me and you'll make a 9% return on your money, loan. So it's okay, so if you say invest with me and you'll make a 9% return on the money that you invest with me, if you're doing a loan, you must guarantee it. You must pay that person back, you know, their principal plus 9%, or whatever you said in your project of how much profit they intend to make. If you say invest with me and you're going to make, let's say, $200 a month in income from, because I rent this property and I get X amount of dollars in rental income per month, so you're going to get X amount of dollars in rental income per month. No matter what happens with that property, you need to pay them X amount of dollars per month, like $200 per month, whatever you say, if you're doing a loan, because it's guaranteed. Think of it like a bank. You know, if you take out a loan from a bank, no matter what happens to you, you still have payments to make on that loan at the end of the month. And that's how this works here. It's the benefit to you is, though, if you choose a loan, investors like those better. They're more secure, they're more stable. Investors like guarantees, investors like safety. I mean, real estate generally is already very safe, but a loan adds a lot more safety and a lot more certainty to investors, and they enjoy that very much. So if you want something more secure, if you're offering something more secure and you want to get funding easily, I would pick a loan. On the flip side, there's something called a partnership. So this is more flexible. This is like your business partner. So if you're looking for I don't know, let's random number, $100,000, and you want to get it with business partners and not a loan, you would say a partnership. So in a partnership, everything you say is estimated, and because everybody's an equal partner or a partner of some varying degree in your project, everybody shares the profits and losses. So if you're renting a property and you say you're going to invest with me and you're going to get, let's say, I don't know, $200 a month from this property that I'm renting, but now your renter moves out and you have no income. If you're in a loan, you would have to guarantee it and pay out that income to those investors anyway. If you're in a partnership, everyone's a partner, so it's like, oh, sorry, there's no renter this month, and you all share the profits and losses. these are investors will go for these. You know, that's fine because these do generally offer higher returns, these types of projects. But you don't have the same certainty as you do with a loan. But for you as a seller, it's safer for you, or as the project fundraiser, it's better for you because there's a lot more flexibility. You're not tied down to anything, and you have more flexibility to share profits and losses without having to worry about losing your shirt if you have a period of uncertainty with your project. But it's up to you to pick either or if you want a loan or a partnership. With a lot of the stuff on Squarous, everything is left up to you as the fundraiser to choose from. So you pick whichever one of these you think best represents your project and how much funding you need. So for our sake here, I'm going to pick a loan. So I'm going to select this option. And that'll take you to this page right here. Now that you've told Squarous that you want to get a loan, it's going to say, what type of project would you like a loan for? Are you doing a flip? Like, are you buying a house, remodeling that house, and reselling that house? Are you buying a lot, building on that lot, and then selling that property? Or are you doing anything with new construction? So the project has a definite start date and a definite end date. That's a flip. You're building or you're renovating, and once that's done, everybody's going to get their money back, plus whatever profits or whatever you expect them to get. So that's a flip. A rental is if you already own a property and you already rent that property. That is a rental, and with a rental, if you're looking for project funding and you plan to guarantee the investors with a rental, like say you have a rental property, let's say a house, and a family lives in that house. You want money to improve that property so you can eventually ask for a higher rent or build something else that could add more rental income to that property. Pick a rental. But when investors invest with your property, with your project, they'll expect a percentage of your rental income per month. So let's say you have a rental property, you're looking for $100,000 to improve the property so you can ultimately ask for higher rents, right? You pick a rental property and you submit a rental property project to Squarous. I come along, I'm an investor. I invest, let's say, $10,000 into that project. Now I own 10%. So whatever rental income that property generates per month, me, the investor, gets 10% of that. So the benefit to you is you get my money to do with as you please, and I get 10% of that rental income from the property. And because we picked loan, if you remember, you have to guarantee that every single month for the life of the project. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to select a flip. So I'm going to select this option here. Now we'll come to the actual submission forum for Squarous here. You fill this out. There's many different sections to it, and it asks for a lot of information, but it's all very important. It's all very important information that will allow us to properly sell and market your product to investors. Remember, you're not trying to impress us. All we run is the platform. You want your project to appeal to investors so they invest in your project. So filling out everything we ask for here will help with that tremendously, and it'll also help with us because we verify everything. So the more information you give to us is less work for us to verify your project, and you get posted on the site faster. So this is section 1. It asks for your information. Take a moment to enter your information here so we know how to contact you once you submit your project for us to review. Your name, your email, your phone number, your address too. If it's your personal address, cool. If it's your business address, cool. Doesn't really matter to me. But this is all very important. This lets us know who you are. And if you have a business name, you can write that in here. or your business address, you can write that in here. It's all very important so we know who you are as a person. Then once you're done with that, you click Next. Project information. This is basically asking for your project address. Let me skip ahead. Alright, back up. This is basically asking for your project address, where it is. This is about your project itself. Let me back up because it is the same on rentals. So let me show you that these forums are the same. I'll go to partnership. I'll go to rental. Next. Okay. So complete this form to submit your project for Squarous for review. Same thing. Project information, your project address, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many floors, total square footage for the project, lot size in square feet, project outline, describe your project fully. Next. This is financial information. So for both loans and partnerships, rentals and flips, it'll ask you for your financial information. So this is how much total funding do you need. So how much funding do you need in total to finish your project? So from start to finish, how much money do you need to do what you got to do for your project? Underneath that is what is the total value of your property. Now remember, we're in rentals now. So I quickly switched just to rentals to show you that this was the same forum, but for rentals it does get a little different. So for rentals it asks you what is the total value of your property, what is your monthly rental income, the expected return on investment, the total cost for your project, itemize these costs. This is important. Investors like cost itemization. What are you spending money on? What categories? What supplies? Doesn't have to be exact, just general so people know where their money is going, how you're spending it, and how your project's basically going to proceed. This next step is already getting funding from any other sources. So if you're using any other place to get funding for your project besides Squarous, that's totally cool. But tell us about it so we can tell investors. Because if you have, let's say, a project where you're asking for like $1 million, but on the next page you'll see it'll ask you how much funding you want from Squarous, and you say 200,000. So if you need like $1 million and you're only asking 200,000 from investors, that's a pretty significant gap. They're going to want to know where other places are giving you money so they can, see if your project is stable and likely to move along or not. So are you getting funding from other sources? Yes or no? How much? What's the interest payment on that? What's the term on your other funding source in months? And just type that in so investors know about it. Next, this is the investor information. So how much funding do you need from Squarous? This is very important. So like I was saying before, if you are looking for, let's say, $1 million and you want to get all that from Squarous, type that in here. Or if you need $1 million for a project and you're getting, let's say, 500,000 from a regular bank loan, that's cool too. So that would mean you only need 500,000 from Squarous. Type that in here. How much funding do you need from this platform, from our investors? This is the number. Underneath that is how long will your project take in months. Vague estimate, that's kind of all we need right now. How long will your project take in months? Is it going to take 12 months, which is a year? Is it going to take 2 years to finish? Is it going to take 18 months, which is about a year and a half? However long you think it's going to take you to, finish your project from start to finish. Underneath this is the shares section. So Squarous will offer your project to investors. And we break down your project into shares. This allows us to reach a very large pool of investors who are very eager to invest in your project, because real estate investing is very expensive, but everybody likes to get into it because it's very safe and it's very secure and it's always stable. And even if the markets spin to zero, you still own something at the end of the day. It's land. The best thing to put your money in is land and real estate. But the problem with that is it's very expensive. So there are huge cost barriers for normal people to invest in real estate. And if you ask for $1 million on the previous section here, you're likely to find very few people that can just give you $1 million outright. So we allow you to break your project down into shares. So you can offer it to different people. We recommend keeping your individual share price as close to $10,000 as possible. So if you are asking for $100,000 from Squarous, we would recommend 10 shares at a cost per share of $10,000. And because we're in the rental section, how much is each share going to get per rental income per month? So let's say you make, I don't know, let's say you make $1,000 per month in rent from the property you're asking for funding for. So you want $100,000, and you break it down into 10 $10,000 shares. I buy a share for $10,000. Now I own 10% of your project and that property, or you owe me 10% of the value of that rent. So if you make, let's say, $100 in rent for that property, I get $10 every single month of that property because I own 10% of your project. So you type that in here. This is a very important section here. When we're done with that, click Next. This is a simple section. Photo upload. Any pictures of your project that you have. Blueprints, if you got photos of the land, or even the property itself, or even the property that you are renovating. Any and all pictures pertaining to your project that you think convey a lot of information that you think investors are going to like, put them here. We have 8 different places for you to upload photos to. Photos are very important. People are very visual. Pick some good ones. If you already got a property, like let's say for rentals, you're going to rent out a property, take some good pictures. You know, they don't have to be, you know, perfect, flawless, professional photos, but they have to be clear and they have to convey a lot of information. And that's pretty much it for this section. Once you have all your photos selected and uploaded, uploading is very easy. Just click it. This will appear. You can quickly, you know, cruise around all your photos. Once this section is done, click Next. This is the proof of ownership section. This is very important. We need to know that you own this property. Investors will never see any of this. This is just private for us. So if you have a deed, if you have a K1 for your rental, if you have any type of proof of ownership, tax receipts or anything that shows, yes, I am the owner of this property, this is mine, upload it here. Very important so we can verify who you are and your ownership of the property. And once that is done, that's it. That's pretty much it. So there's a lot of different sections. I'll back through them again, you know, quickly so you can see them all. There are several different sections. You know, your name, the project information, all of this stuff, the financial information. I mean, it's a lot, but it's really not that a lot. I figure you could probably fill something like this out in like 10 minutes or less, and we're just looking for information. So once you submit it, click the submit button. It'll take you to this page. Your project has been submitted. Thank you for submitting your project to Squarous. We will review your project over the next several business days, and we'll notify you when it's ready to be posted to the platform. You will now automatically be redirected to the home page. Boom. Now you're back on the home page. Your property is submitted. If you want to submit another one, you know, why not? Go for it. Go to loan. Maybe we'll do a rental for a loan. Sort of the same thing. You know, go for it. No one's going to stop you if you have multiple projects to submit. And that's pretty much it. We will review your project over the next several business days, and we will then get back to you if we need to make any changes, if we have to contact you for anything in particular. Maybe we need to modify some numbers. We verify everything very, very exactly. So, you know, we can make sure that everything is good. And that's pretty much it. This is just the financial information for the flip. So you see that it's slightly different than the rental information. So I just want to cover all my tracks before I open up the chat box for questions. So this is for the section on flips. You see it is different than the rental section. Asks you for how much funding do you need. Then it asks you how much do you expect to sell your project for, how much profit do you expect to make, your return on investment. Then, you know, it'll ask you for the acquisition costs. Itemize those acquisition costs, like do you need to buy the property? Do you already own the property? You know, basically land, building, other acquisition costs. These go here. The total construction costs for your project. I want you to itemize them. So permit costs, supply costs, labor costs, whatever. Listing commission fees when you sell it. How much is your real estate agent going to get from that. Your legal fees, if there are any, taxes, if there are any, are you getting funding from other sources, and then after that it's pretty much identical to the rental section. So that is pretty much it. If anybody has any questions for me, I will now open up the floor for questions. If you have any, I will hang on. Let me just get back to the submission page. Partnership, rental. Okay, I'll use this as my teaching tool. So let me type in the chat box. Does anyone have any general questions? Yep. Oh, that was fast. Oh, general chats from viewers. All right, cool. So if you have been posting questions to this chat box, as this video has been going on, you've been put into a question queue. So to prevent disorganization from me, everybody goes into a queue. And if when I ask for questions, the queue will advance, and I'll immediately get the next question that somebody posted. So I'll answer them one by one. If you have any questions, please post them. They won't immediately appear here. They'll be put into the question queue so I can answer them, or in an organized fashion. Okay, so I will read this question out loud in case nobody else can see it. Hello, I have a question. Do I need a real estate license to list my project on your site? That is a very good question. I've actually never seen that before. No, you don't. You really don't. The only thing you need to transact with Squarous is an attorney, and we provide them for you. So that's the only thing that you really need to worry about. If you want to post your project on Squarous to get funding, you don't need a real estate license at all. It's unnecessary, because we're not selling your property to another homeowner. You're looking for funding, like how you go to a bank for funding. And I know I keep saying like you're going to a bank, but we are not a bank. We do not operate like a bank. There's no approval process. There's no anything. There's no walls for you or hoops for you to jump through, or walls for you to jump over. You post your project to us. We'll verify it. We'll put it on the platform. Investors will decide for themselves if they want to put money into your project or not. It's that simple. But you don't need a real estate license to do it at all. Having a real estate license would be unnecessary. But if you got one, cool. Why not? It doesn't really matter to us, one way or another. Let me just. Does anybody else have any other questions? Does anyone have any other questions? Post. Oh, okay. I have another question. Can you describe the difference between a loan and a partnership again? That wasn't exactly clear. Of course. So, with a loan, you have to guarantee what you say in your submission page. Let me just flip forward to some of this stuff. Next. So if you say, what is the expected return on investment, the ROI, and you put in, my investors in this project are going to make 9%, you need to verify that number. So no matter what happens with your property, you need to verify 9%. Just like a regular loan, no matter what happens at the end of the month, you have to make a payment on that loan, no matter what happens to you. Same deal for this. If you tell your investors they're going to make X amount of dollars with your project, you need to verify that, and you need to make sure and confirm that they're going to make X amount of dollars per month for your project, or X amount of percentage for your project once it's done. For a partnership, it's a little more flexible. Look at that like a business partnership. So it's like if you were going to open up a business with your buddy or with somebody else, and you're both equal partners in the business. You share all the profits and losses. So with let's say a project like this, everything here will be estimated. So if you're like, what is the monthly rental income? And you're like, I make $2,000 every single month. What is the expected return on the investment, and I say 9%. If this rental goes away and the project, goes through a rough patch, you don't have to guarantee those. You'll share the profits and losses equally throughout the shares, and through how much of a percentage people have in your project, you'll share the profits and losses equally. And that's pretty much the difference. One is more rigid and secure, one is more flexible but offers higher returns. So that's pretty much it as the difference there. Let me just post here. Does anyone have? Hang on, I'm going to ask this question to you guys. Does anybody else have any other question? Is there another question that I can answer for you guys? Oh, all right, that was fast. Okay. What would the exit strategy for what would be the exit strategy for investors who give money to your project? How do they sell their shares or get their money back from investing with you? That is a good question. And I'll be happy to answer that. So the exit strategy for investors. If you're doing a loan and if you're doing a flip, obviously the exit strategy is the completion of that project. So let's say I am building a house and I'm like, I need $100,000 to build this house. A very random, arbitrary number, but for the purposes of this explanation, let's say I'm looking for $100,000. And I'm like, okay, $100,000, 10 $10,000 shares, you'll each get a 7% return on your investment. It's gonna be great. So you'll get your money back when I finish building that project and I sell it. So once that project's done and sold and off to the races, that's when the project ends. That's the exit strategy for investors. That's when you get your money back. Very self-explanatory. Same goes for a partnership. Even though you're sharing the profits and losses, if it's a partnership dealing with a flip, it's done when the property is sold. For rentals, you basically own a piece of that property forever. Well, not forever, but you become an owner and a partner on that property. So that is a tangible piece of real estate you can then sell to anybody else that you want. Or you can stay on and keep collecting income from that property forever. We actually recommend rentals to our investors who are in retirement, because you can take your retirement savings, put it into properties on Squarous with rentals, and then get rental income from those properties every single month for as long as you own those shares for. And we do so much better than things like a 401k or even the open market, because real estate is very stable, real estate is very profitable, and if you have, let's say, investments spread out over a whole bunch of rental projects on Squarous, you could potentially make the equivalent of like a decent salary. Like, let's say you have $400,000 saved up for retirement. I'll go to the All Investments page to quickly show you some stuff. So let's say you have like $400,000 saved up for retirement. These projects are already funded, so they're not really in play. But let's say you spread out that money through all these different projects. They all pay income per share per month. Number of shares available, 12. This is paying out 125 per share. That's like, well over $1,000, $1,500 a month in just rent. So if you spread out your retirement savings into here, you could potentially be getting tens of thousands of dollars every single month, the equivalent of a salary, and it's just yours. And as you hang on to those investments and collect that income, your investment is going up in equity with the property value of the rental property that you've invested in. So it's a win-win for everybody. The project owner gets your money so he can do things and improve the property, and you get a piece of that income per month, every month, forever, for as long as you own that investment for. So it's pretty great. All right. Does anyone have any more questions? Any more questions? Let me type this. Any more questions? Whoop, okay. How long does it usually take for properties to get approved, and how will you verify, how do you verify property details? Okay. The property approval process is a couple business days. We verify everything through other sites. Like other home valuation sites will look up similar properties and projects for that area. Let's say you're buying a house in Staten Island, for example, and you're asking for $500,000 to build a two-family home that you say is going to be worth about $1 million. We'll look at all the home values for that area with many home valuation tools. We'll use at least 3 to verify it. We'll look at all the similar properties around your area, ones that match your property, like how many bedrooms, bathrooms, how big, how small, and that's how we'll verify that number. So if you say that property is going to be worth $1 million, but similar projects and properties in your area are only selling for about $800,000, then that is a discrepancy, and we would contact you like, hey, we think that your total value is a little overinflated, and we'll work with you to readjust that number and to subsequently readjust everything on your submission page and your property, so everything is accurate and everything is good, and the investors get the best information possible, because we will not let any property go on Squarous that isn't verified and that isn't accurate and that isn't truthful, and we go to great lengths to verify every detail in the project. So it takes a few business days. I would say maybe 3 business days, 3 to 4, to actually verify something. But if there's any discrepancies or things we need to change for you, that'll obviously increase the time, because we'll have to reach out to you, call you, shoot you an email, be like, hey, we need to change some things. And but for us to start looking at your project and you submit it, it's about 3 days to verify everything. So yeah, all right, cool. Cool. Does anyone have hang on, I see someone typing something. Whatever. Does anyone have any additional questions? I'll post that for you guys to look at. Can you explain in more detail how attorneys work? How are they assigned to a property, and where do you get them from? All right, very happy to answer that question for you. Attorneys. Attorneys are required for real estate transactions. Doesn't matter if it's a big transaction or a small transaction. If you're selling real estate, you need to have an attorney. They must be present. They are assigned to your property based on the area that you're from. I know that everybody in this webinar is from the New York tri-state area. We have an attorney that services that. His name is John Ravella. He will automatically be assigned to your project once you submit it to us. If your property is in some other area, let's say you're doing a project in South Carolina or something, we will locate an attorney down there, and you will use him or her for your project. You don't really have a choice on what attorneys to use. We pick them out for you. It's just much easier on your part if we pick out attorneys in advance, and much easier for us to manage everything, and it's easier for you as a fundraiser. And how do they work? Basically, when somebody wants to invest in your project, they will handle that transaction. They will also verify everything as an extra step against fraud. Not that there's any fraud on this platform, but it's an extra step to verify everything. They'll draw up all the necessary contracts and paperwork and everything else that is needed to execute your project and to get you your funding and to execute transactions between yourself and investors. So that's pretty much how attorneys work. Does anybody else have any questions? Let me type it in. Does anyone else have any questions, in case anybody is watching this with subtitles on silent mode? Does anybody else have questions? Okay, I see one immediately. How exactly do you market our projects once we post them onto your site? That is a very good question. Thank you for asking it. So, we market your projects on Squarous a couple of different ways. I'm going to go to the home page real quick to show you that. So, popular properties is a way that investors can find you. Featured properties is a way that investors can find you. All investments is a way that investors can find you. Investment search is a way that investors can find you. Locator search is a way that investors can find you. We have a lot of tools that investors can use to, lock down their location, find properties around them, find properties around the areas that they're looking for. Do a general search of everything on the entire site. A lot of different ways. That's all the internal stuff. Externally, we advertise heavily on social media. We advertise on Google. We advertise on Yahoo. We advertise on a lot of different real estate blogs and websites where investors and other people go to talk about real estate investing and real estate news. Pretty much everywhere. Mobile, desktop, doesn't matter. We advertise in lots and lots of places. That has allowed us to accumulate a very large pool of very motivated investors that are looking for new projects to invest in. We have hundreds of people that are subscribed to this site in one way or another, either through direct accounts or through our newsletter. We also advertise projects like hot upcoming projects through our newsletters. We have hundreds of people that subscribe to those, hundreds of people that are registered for this site, people that are every day looking for investments. And it would be very easy if you fill out all the information, post your project to us for investors to find you. Because we do market. Our marketing is incredibly effective. So I'm ready to take more questions. If anybody else is ready to post them, let me post in here. Ready to take more questions. Okay. Okay. How long does it usually take for properties to get approved? How do you verify property details? Well, I already answered that up here. You could probably just rewind in the stream for that. Let's just type this in again. Ready to take questions. Whoop. Okay. Hello. I would also like a phone number to call you. You can't expect people to get involved with you if you don't even have a phone number. Okay. Cool. So we don't have a phone number. But we do have an instant chat down here. Obviously, it's offline because I am currently having this webinar talking to you guys. But if you need to reach us through for customer service or whatever, you can always email us through the different contact forums and pages, or use this live support window down here. It's offline because I'm conducting this webinar. But no, we do not have a phone number for you to contact us with. Just type in, I am ready for additional questions. Okay. Okay, can you explain in more detail how attorneys work? How are they assigned to a property, and where do you get them from? So, as I was explaining before, I know that all of you who are in this webinar watching us, you're from the New York tri-state area. we have an attorney that services this area. His name is John Ravella. He's automatically assigned to you if you were to post a real estate project. Attorneys come to you automatically. We pick them up for you and assign them to you. If you are doing a project in a different area, let's say South Carolina, to name a random place, we would find an attorney down there on your behalf and assign him to you. So we assign attorneys ourselves because we think it's easier for you, and it's also easier for us to keep track of everything. It's just a better system for how things work. I hope that answered your question. So hang on. Ready for questions now. Any additional questions? Okay, same question. I'm going to keep going. Any further questions? There we go, that'll do it. Oh, also, our attorneys know our system better than any other attorney. So that's also why we pick our attorneys ourselves, because they know our platform better than anybody else, than any other attorney. It's easier for us to educate an attorney and assign him to you than, you know, find some random attorney on like the internet or through an ad, someone who isn't familiar with our platform, to expect to handle our types of transactions on the platform. It's just better for us, and it's easier for you if we assign them ourselves. Okay, and I have another question. How motivated are your investors to finance new projects? What are your demographics? Our investors are very motivated. We have very effective marketing campaigns, like I was saying earlier, that target everything online. We do marketing on social media. We do marketing on Yahoo videos. We do marketing on Google. We do marketing on Bing. Pretty much everywhere. We have hundreds and hundreds of people who are subscribed to this website, who have accounts with this website, who constantly email and message me for new projects for this website. They're very motivated. Our demographics are mostly people who are entering retirement. These are the people who have the cash and the finances to purchase investments. They're not going to need to finance in any investments. They have large sums of money that they can invest in. And like I was saying before, for people who are entering retirement, Squarous is great. You can invest in something like a flip and get your money quickly, or you can invest in something like a rental and get income paid out every single month. And like I was saying, if you have, like, let's random number, $400,000 you've been saving up. You have it in a 401k. You just got paid $400,000 with the closing of your 401k account. If you put all that into Squarous with the different rental incomes and the opportunities we have for flips and other investments, you could basically make like a salary, like a decent salary with through investing with us. Picking projects to put money into. So we have a lot of investors. They're very motivated. It's a very large pool of investors, and they are very motivated. Also, Squarous offers a lot of great diversification options. Not only is Squarous a good tool that you can use to round out your existing investment portfolio, you can diversify with things in Squarous. You could put your money into some flips to make money quickly over, like, you know, once the construction is done and the property is sold, you'll make your money that way. Or you can diversify and put into rental projects to get secure, stable income every single month. You can also diversify within different projects. Don't put all your money into one rental. Put it into several. Don't put your money into one flip. Put it into several. You could build yourself a very, very well-protected and diversified portfolio with different locations and different types of properties and different investments that will protect you very well going forward in the future, and will protect your investment and your money going forward in the future, which is why people like Squarous so much. So our investors are very motivated. They look for projects every single day. If you post a project with us is a very high likelihood of chance that once it's verified on the platform, you will find funding very quickly. Let me say I'm ready for another question. Does anyone have anything else to add? Okay. Anything to add? Okay, I already answered the attorney's question. Like I said before, we assign them to you ourselves. We pick them for you, makes it easy. The attorneys already know what they're doing with our platform, and it's easier for you and easier for us and easier for the project as a whole. So now we go. So now I'll say, does anyone have any other questions? Can you describe the difference between a loan and a partnership again? That wasn't exactly clear. Okay, that is a very good question. I'll be happy to answer that for you again. So, with a loan, back to previous options. With a loan, everything is very secure. Think of it like, I keep using this bank metaphor again, but we're not a bank. But let's say you go to a bank, you say, I need a loan for a project. They give you the terms. They say you have to pay this every single month. We expect to get this every single month. It's guaranteed no matter what happens to you. At the end of the month, you need to pay the bank that loan, and you also need collateral. Same deal on Squarous. If you say, let's say you need $100,000 for a project, and you say that's the people are going to make, let's say a 7% return on investment, they're going to get, let's say, $200 every single month from rental income. If you're doing it for a rental, we're going to need collateral. We're also and you are also going to have to verify and guarantee all of those terms. So no matter what happens to you at the end of the month, no matter if your project is going up or down, you need to pay $200 every single month if you guarantee it, and also that 7% return on investment, because that is what a loan is. That is what investors expect, and doesn't matter. Even if you're going through a foreclosure, that still applies. So you need to guarantee everything you say. For investors, investors tend to like loans better because even though real estate is very safe, loans do guarantee. They do have a degree of safety to them. So investors will usually gravitate more towards loans. For you, as a fundraiser, it does add a little bit more that you have to do on your end, but you will tend to get funding faster if you do a loan. Also, you can offer lower returns and lower payouts. Loans usually have lower returns or lower payouts, so maybe instead of getting over 10% of a return on investment, investors will be happy to expect 6% or 7% or less than that, depending on your project. On the flip side, a partnership is more flexible. You share profits and losses. Think about if you're going to open up a business with like your buddy or a friend or something like that. You're both partners in the business. If the business is doing well, everybody's doing well. If the business is doing bad, everybody is taking a hit. Same deal with Squarous and projects on here. You don't have to guarantee everything. Everybody is a partner, and that ownership, how much percentage of ownership people own in your property, determines that partnership. And it basically is much more flexible. Partnerships do offer more risk, so investors do expect higher returns and higher payouts, so be prepared for that. A partnership is always going to be higher than a loan. So for you as a fundraiser, you have more flexibility, and you'll share profits and losses without having to guarantee anything, but you'll have to guarantee investors more in the future, and more returns and higher payouts for a business partnership. Okay, let me Starting to wind down a little bit, I see. Let me ask if anyone has general questions. Does anybody have any general questions? Send. Let's see. Whoop, okay, I see one that just appeared. Do I need to have a real estate license to list my project on your site? No, not at all. You don't need a real estate license at all. I mean, if you have one, cool, but you don't need one at all. We're not selling properties to home buyers. This is a funding website. You're getting funding from us. You're seeking funding. You're not selling a house. This is not a sales website, so you don't need to have a real estate license. You need an attorney, but we provide one for you, but you don't need a real estate license for this platform at all. So it's unnecessary to have a real estate license for Squarous. And let me post this onto the chat box so everybody can see my answer. Whoops, anyone have different questions? Okay, how do I know if someone is interested in my property? That is a good question. If somebody's interested in your property, let me show you on our All Investments page. Somebody will find you through this page here. They'll click. We'll just pick this random property. It's funded and not accepting more investments, but we'll pick it anyway. They'll scroll down, contact to invest. I would like to invest in this property. They'll fill in your name, the phone number, the email. They'll have to type in this to make sure that they're not a spam robot. Click contact. Automatically, we will get an email saying that somebody would like to invest in your property, and so will you, and so will the attorney that's assigned to your property. You'll get email notifications for everything. You'll see here there's a comments page where people can rate your property also. You'll get an email for that. If people contact you to invest, you'll get an email from that. You can check how many views your property has by going into Manage Account. Everything, you'll get an email for everything. Everything is traceable. Everything is trackable. You get an email for pretty much everything that happens on this site, especially if you are a seller. You could also look and manage your project at any time. Email us or contact us through this chat box right here, which is always on during normal business hours. If I'm not doing a webinar, this will be online and I'll be talking to people, and I do all the time. You can also get in contact with us to email us here. Contact us by email right there. My account, go back to submit a property so we can look at the stuff over here. And that's pretty much it. We have contact information also at the bottom of the page here, right underneath our address. These are all monitored constantly, so we'll email you whenever. You can email us. Communication on this site is not an issue. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? We have been through several, so if anybody else has any more, now is the time to ask them. I feel my voice starting to give out, so I think we're reaching a natural stopping point. Just post in here. Questions? Questions? Comments? Anything else? Okay, I see a few people have also disconnected already. That is fine. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm going to, it seems like a natural stopping point. Thank you, everybody, for coming to this webinar and participating and talking to me and messaging me. I'm sorry if some of the stuff was a little disorganized earlier. Organizing the chat box is a full-time job. But, you know, I hope I got to everybody's questions. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to Investor Insights. Make an account on Squarous. You can contact me through this chat box whenever. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to log out of Squarous here. And also, this video will be available once it's done in processing on our video shorts page. and also on YouTube and Facebook and all that other good stuff. You click the video shorts here, it'll appear here with all of our other tutorials and videos and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.